Hi everyone and welcome back. I'm so happy to be here, like probably more happy than usual, to be coming on and making a video about the Year of the Ox, talking a little bit about Chinese astrology in 2021 and stretching a little bit into 2022. Why I'm so happy to be here making this video is because at long last this really facilitates a shift from the previous Year of the Rat, which had a very tough energy signature for a lot of us. I mean, I think that we're going to be digesting what happened there for a long time, and we're really called to pivot a little bit with the Year of the Ox coming in and no longer indulge ourselves in such toilsome stories. Okay, so we have a lot to talk about in this video. There are going to be video chapters below, and I'm going to just kind of do a general research and channeling into this energy for everybody. It's a general video. As always, these videos are for entertainment purposes, and we're just kind of here having fun, sharing space together, and talking about how the energy is changing. And I really started to feel the change toward the end of Capricorn season. In fact, I would say it was around January 10th that I started to be like, okay, well, we're moving into Year of the Ox. That energy is coming on, and I was really feeling it actually around November to a little bit of a shift, but we're gonna feel it hardcore moving into February. So here I am towards the end of January making this video for everyone. Do be sure and check out the predecessor to this video. I did a Year of the Rat video, and I think it's really good for hindsight to look back and understand a little bit of what we were going through there. I'll link that in the top right hand corner and below. And yeah, without further ado, let's talk about Year of the Metal Ox and what that means. Okay, so generally for everybody, we have to come to terms with Year of the Rat first, okay? Ox as an energy is similar to the energy of Taurus in Western astrology. It is also 2, the number 2, just like Taurus in Western astrology. So it is about reception. It is about growth. It is about naturally a type of earthy material well-being and fostering the type of health and stability that allows us to receive well in life. So it feels to me that the main overarching idea of Ox is facilitating healthy reception in your life. So what is really needed right at the get-go is a reflection back into Year of the Rat, especially like March 2020 till around December 2020, and understanding what you received, what life gave you at that time, what was coming in, what your health was consisting of, what any type of like health problems, any type of money problems, any type of problems now need to be pushed aside. And I do feel that for some people it requires a level of sacrifice. And when I say sacrifice, I don't mean like losing happiness or doing things that you don't feel comfortable with. But the main thing that I can diagnose actually with Rat on the other side of it was an indulgence in fear and an indulgence in problems or paranoias or, tug of wars as well, political, familial, business related, anything that was a dispute, okay? Being very indulgent and wanting to dispute or wanting to consume a type of, fear-mongering or problematic dynamic. So there's no tolerance for this type of thing with the Ox year. Otherwise, you just really start to sap your energy, and there's really, you can kind of feel isolated with energy of the Ox if there's a lot of indulgence in the energy of dispute or a lot of indulgence in the energy of fear-mongering, paranoia, or dystopian ideas as well. So this gets much more earthly this year. This gets much more real. So we have to really come down from any mania, any, frenetic energy, storm of frenetic energy. I can do this, I can do that, I can do all these things. I can, go crazy. Meanwhile, I'm not eating, I'm not taking care of myself, and I'm just scrambling around and consuming everything that I can. That by like March or April of 2021 is something that has to be contained if we want to receive well, okay? So coming into this year, especially at the end of January 2021, just kind of mulling things back over and thinking, okay, I was worried about this or I was worried about that. Did it come to fruition, or was this a compensatory paranoia? Okay, let's talk a little bit about what paranoia means, okay, energetically and spiritually, because I feel like a lot of people are struggling with like a fear-based paranoia. And when I'm saying paranoia, I'm not talking about the psychological paranoia in relation to schizophrenia. I'm talking about paranoia as a more sociologic idea, like, oh, I'm worried if this or that's going to happen, you know? That's what I'm speaking of. That is as a result of getting quite outside of yourself, and it's a result of basically looking out the windows too much. What do I mean by that? So not paying attention to your own well-being, not staying embodied, but getting really... what's the word? Getting really hypothetical in your life. Hypothetical, you know, thinking of if I do this, then that will happen, which will spur this, which will create a type of, presence here, which will bring this type of person into my life. You know, basically anticipating the chess moves 20 moves ahead. That it was a large part of the rat year and maybe the pig year as well. And that's, I think, a very important aspect of moving from 12, which was the pig, to 1, which is the rat, or Pisces to Aries. It's about forward prediction. It's about the results, the momentum that has been generated and how that resets itself. So it's important to know that momentum has reset over the last year, and there's still going to be an idea of like so like RE, you know, reset, redo, rebrand, re-coordinate, redux, revision. All of those things are still going to be a part of the year of the ox, I think. Now, this was much better to indulge in or to work with in the year of the rat, but it's really not actually until we get to the energy of 3 and 4, like a Gemini Cancer energy, that we really start to just like embody and accept the path. The energy of 1, 2, and even a bit of 3. So Aries, Taurus, Gemini, rat, pig, tiger, rat, ox, tiger. These energies, these 1 through 3 energies, are a lot about choices and having a lot more freedom of energy, smaller energy, so you can decide where you want to go. With that in mind also, what did you spend most of your time doing in Year of the Rat? What are you spending most of your time on now? It's really important that you understand that the majority of time investment in these 3 years, 2020, 2021, and 2022, okay, have pretty much an effect on 2023 to 2032, okay? So on that next 9 years, it's going to be very affected by the choices of energy output here and now. So yes, when we think that way, we then start to get pretty hypothetical, and we start to be like, gosh, well, now I'm afraid to do anything. And another possibility, which is not really negative or positive, of Year of the Ox, is being a little bit inconclusive, or being a little bit like not willing to commit, non-committal. I'm sensing also a lot of new like polyamorous relationship themes coming in with the Aquarian energy also. I'm sensing that committed relationships will become much harder to come by, and I think that people will start to develop new types of norms and ideas around having many friends, many associates, many acquaintances, and perhaps many lovers as well, without committing to any of them. So I do also think that the Year of the Ox, that this is a tender point of Ox year, just to get it out of the way, because Ox is about commitments and loyalty. It is one of the energies of like marriage and true commitment. So the Aquarius energy is confused with that, as we have Jupiter and Saturn transiting into Aquarius and some huge Aquarius stelliums this year. That is very cold. And again, it is a metal ox, so that does sort of make this a sort of airy type of ox energy. So that is kind of maybe just a philosophical tender point. It's like, what do I commit to in my life? Who do I commit to? Where do I put myself? Where do I place myself? To me, it feels like people are a little bit blind right now, or people are a little bit, it's not blind, it's more of like the intuition is not strong for a lot of people. It's so airy and it's so robotic and automated perhaps, that the human element might suffer in 2021. So the people who will really, I think, come through this year, and maybe not during this year, but moving forward through the years to come, people who can still remember the human element now and who can still commit appropriately will come through as a sort of like, I don't know, high level, incredible, reputable, formidable person. Though it still requires a type of discernment, which we foraged hardcore. If you were on my channel in 2020 and on my Patreon page as well, you know, we've been like working so hard with our discernment, our decision making, you know, our intuition and how that relates to the things that we choose to make a part of our life, the things that we choose to engage in. If you've really honed that sense, 2021, Year of the Ox, is going to be very giving. And you're going to basically, through that discernment, take on and choose things that give and give and give. All right? Though if the discernment or the paranoia or the fear spectrums are not sealed off by around April of 2021, once we get past the astrological new year, it creates this type of, just a new culture of fear, a new culture of conspiracy as well, a new culture of especially like worry regarding autonomy, privacy, and surveillance and things like that come up. Like, oh my gosh, do I have any privacy? Not really, okay? There is still some, and over the next few years, we might even look back to this time and be like, wow, how much privacy we did have. But also the energy of Ox is about worship to a degree. It's about figurehood, okay? It's about projections and identities and what makes us likable as people and what we're known for as well. Not in the same way that like a 10th house energy is in the Western system, where that becomes so connected to our prestige or our career or our public identity. But I would say that this is also more of like how we know ourselves. And this is more of a factor in our lives than we realize. Like, how do we consider ourselves? And then how do other people consider us? What do we commend ourselves with? I know myself as being this, this, and that. And I know that I have these qualities and those qualities, and I don't have those qualities. But then the people who are maybe more acquaintances in your life, do they associate any of that? Is that really how you're known? This year will really give us more of a congruency around our identity to ourselves versus, you know, our more public identity. So that becomes a thing this year too. And that was actually in 2020 also, but this will also take a few more years to really set in. But that would be a place where you could basically get extra credit this year, is by getting identity things in order. Okay. What do I want to be known as? And is the work or labor that I'm doing in my life contributing to the identity that I want to create, or that I want to have? Personal control over the identity is a large part of this as well. And I think that relationships are going to play a role in this, maybe through being with another person, having a new relationship, dating, or taking a current relationship to the next level. You'll start to see yourself more. The energy of the number 2 of the Ox is so wonderful for learning through love, or learning through connection with others, even friendship, and just, you know, jovial, fun experiences of community are really positive. Okay. So with that in mind, I will definitely use this moment to advertise our Discord page. We have an incredible community on Discord. There's this really cool like progression system, and you can sort of like level up through the chats, and it's really fun to partake in. And I started that last year in 2020, and it was one of the best things I've ever done in my life, is creating this Discord page and creating this community, and partaking in it, you know, and watching that grow. So I will link that below. If you would like some, you know, we have all kinds of things that we talk about, from just general topics to astrology to tarot to you know, anything. So that is linked below, the Discord page. But yes, how you are in relation to other people is very focused. Even if we think of like the second, 8th house axis in astrology, it deals a lot with the other, okay? Because in the first house, the first and the seventh house, we create ourselves and our identity, okay? And then in the second house, second, eighth house axis, that identity becomes a place from which we then pull in other things, other people, or other experiences. So we start to see our first results in Year of the Ox of like what all of these cumulative, comprehensive efforts have led us to. And it's so wonderful for a lot of people, though there might be a coldness to it as well, as it is metal ox. And there's a level of skill that is required in any true sort of level up within your relationship spectrum. Absolutely. Another aspect of the second, eighth house axis is truth versus lies as well. So the Year of the Ox is going to deal a lot with that, and reaching a new level of honesty is something that is definitely recommendable because it really uncomplicates things. So I think that lies are something that become really complicated in the Year of the Ox, and to like maintain them requires some degree of like daily focus. And it's just like, imagine how much energy ends up going to like lie maintenance in this year. It's really a lot to consider. Also like the protection of certain things, like protection of assets, protection of real estate, protection of businesses, protection of identity, protection of security, and protection of health. All of these things to me feel like a lot of energy goes into that. Anything that is like a protection, because I feel like that's the main reason also that people lie, is to like protect themselves, or it's like that's usually people's motivation when it comes to lying, is to have it some type of like easier time with something. So definitely asking yourself, like, if you have been like caught up in lies, or if you've been like caught up in any type of illusions. Neptune is doing a lot of, it's getting so advanced into Pisces this year that for some people it's not even a matter of lying, it's just a matter of getting like really like out of the human condition and getting so like universal and spiritual and, you know, caught in the waves that like reality just gets like what do I want to say? Reality gets a little bit broken. And it's not even for a lot of people a matter of like, I've decided to lie. It's just a matter of like convenience and keeping things easy. And, you know, especially like white lies, you know, that is more so what I'm seeing for a lot of people. So definitely striving for a new level of honesty is one of the most rewarding things in Year of the Ox. And not worrying so much about it, because it really helps you to free up a lot of your time and energy to other things. Okay, so accomplishments require some amount of honesty this year. And coming out of the closet as well, or coming out of the hidden spheres, is one of the only ways to receive, because it feels very isolating otherwise. It feels to build a type of incongruent reality to other people, or to hide, just basically requires a fortress, or it requires like a total disconnection or dissociation from society and other people. So that's just something that has come to me randomly throughout this too. Again, if you think of the energy of Taurus, it is like supported through the truth. It is supported through ease and through simplicity and through integrity and kindness. So through building a level of integrity, we have a type of honesty goal too. Also, another thing that I'll talk about just in this introduction, totally onto another subject, is hard work. Okay. The energy of the Ox is like hard work. Okay. It's like kind of physically demanding. So a lot of people either will maybe take on more laborious jobs, maybe to get more income so that they can become more self-sufficient. I definitely see that as maybe one the main 90% focus for a lot of people. And that will be supported, okay? So try to not get worried, you know, if you're taking on more hours at the office, or if you're working harder for what you earn, as that will somehow generate an energy to propel you higher, all right? And it won't be permanent. Now is a good time to get hard things done with in Year of the Ox, because it's so supportive. So especially if you have like things or clutter, or even like fixing up worn down things. So having a car that's really old, you could fix that or you could get a new one. Having like a rundown house or having property that is run down is very good to face this year. It's very, very good to face anything that's run down, worn out, and to work on those things, or to sell those things or get out of those things and reinvest or redo. Because again, this is kind of a year, RE. So reinvesting, redoing, recalibrating, refocusing the worth of something somewhere else. That's also very congruent with the Aquarian new wave that we're in, where we take the energy out of one thing, withdraw it, and place it into another. That is the main theme of this year, actually. Okay. Also, I think that you can have a really good stable increase through more traditional methods, even though we're in the new wave Aquarian energy. And yes, it is so innovative. It is so, new wave. So many of us want to do things that it's never been done before and is so new and incredible. And the small amount, just personally, not even channeling, but as I've created an online business myself and have done YouTube and have done all of this, and it's kind of like innovative, and it's kind of like newer in comparison to humanity's history and the way that, things like this have been generated. Yes, it is very rewarding, but there's also a level of chaos and stress about it too, because there's not a lot of precedent and there's not a lot of historical relevance to it. So when you kind of get into that innovative space, it feels like more of a risk in a way too, just because you don't have this huge, level of being able to see like what people have done in this situation and what people have done in that situation. It's very freeing. It's very liberating, but it's kind of like high risk, high reward type of stuff too. So I think that offsetting all of the push toward that with something more traditional, doing something that is like really tried and true, is a really great way to get to offset and rebalance the focus on new innovative things. So also errors are unforgiving in Year of the Ox. Though if you find yourself in an error or a mistake, the catalyst that it causes is immense through it being a little bit unforgiving. So through messing up or through having a problem, especially in this beginning phase of it, if you're facing, oh my gosh, I'm in like a huge amount of debt. Oh my gosh, what did I do? Oh my gosh, I like don't have a job, or anything that like feels like you've made a mistake or an error in your life path. It is going to have a certain type of karmic maze that it might generate, though facing that catalyzes you totally out of it. So any type of error, issue, or problem really creates more of a pivot than many of us have experienced in the last 12 years, since the previous Year of the Ox in 2009. Okay, so let's see, what else do I want to talk about in the general part? So foraging, the energy of foraging that was with Rat Year is replaced by structure. So now we're not really like finding, looking. We're more so accepting what we have at our disposal now and increasing the value of those things. So watch out for like trying to find things that you have no context with. We are attracted to that with Aquarius, uncontextual things, but it still has to be a little bit contextual, okay? Authenticity is going to be the most valuable thing. Material reality, being really grounded in who you are is a huge part of 2 energy, second house, Taurus, Ox energy. Also, just the theme of little by little. Okay, this is the main voice that is coming through, or this is the main idea that I'm getting, is a little by little we get there. So you might have seen in Year of the Rat what we talked a lot about in last year's video was procrastination and letting things pile up or letting things build up to a point where you have to like really go crazy and summon an amount of energy to overcome that, 6 weeks worth of laundry, bills that haven't been paid in 3 months, or debt that has snowballed without having looked at it. Those were all really prevalent ideas of Year of the Rat. And now Year of the Ox demands a more little by little approach. So doing that laundry more frequently, paying those bills more frequently, not even letting messes accumulate, but without being obsessive compulsive and without being perfectionist, continuing to do small tasks all the time every day so that you maintain, because again, maintenance, sustaining, keeping a level of prosperity requires not letting things pile up to begin with. So that is a great little by little tactic. Step by step, little by little, you have this huge tree that has grown, earth energy. Let's see. Yes. Do not let things build up. We've talked about that. I have a little outline I'm going by. Trust, security systems, insurance, protocols, all of that is important. Self-control, okay? Second house, probably more than any other house, maybe other than 10th house. Second and 10th house, 2 and 10 energy. Taurus and Capricorn energy. These deal with self-control, and these deal with dynamic selfhood. So who I am, what I do, what I partake in, what I have little control over doing, addictions, habits, what I'm eating, food, diet. These are all very focused, again, this year, kind of like last year and the year before. Once we go into Year of the Tiger next year, though, these things will not really be a big deal. And we'll either have the strength and health to do that huge mission that comes up with Year of the Tiger, or we won't. So that's important to know this year, is that you either, like through this year, you either have the strength to do it or you don't. And that's just that simple by the end of this year. But it's hopeful because we still have another 12 months to get the health, strength, security, wisdom, authenticity, and selfhood to really do whatever it is that we're proposing at a high purpose level. Speaking of purpose, ideas of dual purpose come in this year. And within that, within having maybe two purposes right in front of you, 2 year, 2 paths, crossroads energy, you might kind of have juxtaposed careers right in front of you. Like, I can't do both of these. I can't possibly do both of these things. Like, I have to choose one or the other. That is something that is here, and I hate to say it, but that is definitely something that is here. And not having to face this immediately right off the ground. But this could all be mental too. Again, this is metal ox, so it's like swords in the tarot. It's like mental pursuits. So we might even be getting like these philosophies, like I can only do that one career. I can only do that one thing. I can only be this one type of identity, this one type of person. And that is not without reason, because yes, our identities really do need to get kinder to ourselves. And the less complex they are and the less faceted they are, the more that's possible. So that's the stream of logic happening there. Yeah, it's just kind of a reality of this year is that it's really good to have dual purpose. So maybe this incredible job and also this incredible degree at the same time, or, being a great parent while also being a great career person. These dual planes that everybody seems to be existing through to some degree. I can't actually make a total prediction on this. This is going to require getting into the year to understand more about. Because on one hand, I feel that the dual purpose is here, it's strong, it's prevalent. But on the other hand, I feel that many of us also don't really feel that it's maintainable. And maintenance is such a huge part of this year, yet so is the dual purpose. So we have conflict within this. Basically, try to just feel rewarded by the ability to partake in different things and let it speak to you as time passes about how you should do. Okay, is there anything else I want to talk about general messages for Year of the Ox? Be careful of signing away your not your autonomy, your freedoms, your freedom of time. Okay, watch out for signing that away. This year can be completely disappear. It can disappear really quickly through taking on too much. If you think of like, what do I want to say? This animal, the bull, the ox, these types of animals are quite constrained, okay? They can like work in the fields, they can graze, they can be sold, they can be, there's a market for them. They're agricultural pieces and they're also food sources, okay? Oxes, cows, bulls, things like that. And they do not have a lot of self-control, again, because they are farmed and things like that. So these are not wild, free animals. These are controlled animals, typically. Not, I'm sure that there are wild ox, like I'm sure that they exist. But as a majority, they have been conscripted, okay, to serve for humans. So it is also thinking of conscription, thinking of servitude, thinking of being chained up, like the devil card energy. Do keep a keen awareness of what you are signing yourself up for this year. Because, yeah, you might get that incredible $500,000 salary, maybe, or that incredible $5 million business, or even just that salary that finally gets you to a level of comfort where you're not living paycheck to paycheck. What are you giving in return, though? Okay. Contractual obligations come up with the second house, second, eighth house axis. Contractual obligations, give and receive transactions, all of that is kind of an iffy territory, though metal ox is good for this because it means that there's a lot of logic and a lot of things are in fine print. But what is the fine print really saying? Do we know? It's so easy to get very unfree in the year of 2021, in the ox year. And the people who don't relinquish too much of their individualism or too much of their ideas, or the people who do not, okay, what it revolves around is time. So people who do not give up too much of their time on a future axis, meaning like, okay, for the next 10 years, maybe I'm gonna do a 5-year recording contract with a music label, and now the next 5 years of my life are owned by this company. Things like that I would not advise or recommend this year, unless you love it like nothing else, unless you would be doing this for the next 5 years undoubtedly anyway. Anything that contracts your time past this year, I would not advise unless it is the career of your dreams, okay? And it's that simple. And as I was saying, my last point before we move into timelines is going to be that the people who work well with time and get that perfect balance of putting time to a career or an output that is enjoyable while also not sacrificing their future, those are the people who will come into Year of the Tiger as like very strong and very vicious perhaps, but also very strong. Okay, moving on to timelines. I can't believe we're already 32 minutes in. Okay, so this is going to be brief, and I'm going to also do a quick tarot draw for fun at the end of the video too. So as I was sitting down and thinking about this year of the ox, 3 timelines came to me. So the first timeline, so this is going to kind of divide up the energetic segments of the year and kind of segment it into overarching themes. And this first timeline is of just February and March of 2021. This is going to be an individual chapter, and it's very condensed, it's very small, and it deals with adjustments, pivots, and rations, okay? So hopefully you've come out of Year of the Rat with a surplus, or with something to show for it. Again, whether this is time, money, energy, more health, more opportunities. For everybody there, I know we don't want to say it, like 2020 has been very restrictive for a lot of people, but for pretty much everybody, there is actually something that has been gained through the solitude of it. So February and March to me feel like a time of deciding how that new asset or that new aspect of you, or these new desires even, it might even just be a new purpose that you never had before that you came out of 2020 with. February and March is a deciding period of time where we choose how we want to implement that. So what I would expect with that is possibly some things we just can't keep taking on. Maybe we have to pull back in some ways. Maybe we have to pivot. Maybe we have to take on a different location or plan for that. And maybe also I would say adjusting time schedules, adjusting the body, massages, chiropractors, what's it called? Acupuncture, anything that creates an adjustment of energy flow is beautiful for February and March, because we don't want to get to April and feel that the same doubts and fears and worries and things are just never going to end in our life. Okay, there really has to be a catalyst. So what I would advise when it comes to action in February and March, even late January, like even as this video is coming to you, especially if you're watching it, you're probably like me in the same boat where we're always thinking ahead and we're always looking to the potentials of, the oncoming time period. You might need to go on a trip. You might need to get out of town. You might need to, and of course, if this is appropriate with your location and stuff, this depends on all that. But something has to be changed with the surrounding stimulus in order to comprehend what's going on. So try to do that. Try to see the largeness of the world and try to see where you shine and what you can partake in that will be more helpful for your long term and be more giving of time to you. Okay, I would hope that in February and March you really allow yourself to see how you can have more of your own time and how that's a wholesome decision and not just like laziness and not just like procrastination or not just a sacrifice of your potential for the future. So February and March in that vein is very intellectual, and the mind is really trying to figure out how to stop playing games with itself, and whatever you can do to facilitate leaving fear-mongering, leaving paranoia, leaving any type of self-terrifying behind is the most important for that time, and you should be able to do it successfully. Okay, so the second timeline that came to me as sort of a chapter 2 in 2021 is, so this is a long one. This is April, May, June, July, August, and September. So 4 through 9 as one cumulative chapter that came in. And this deals to me with emergence. It deals to me with... Okay, so this is kind of interesting. It's kind of a bit of a penance, okay? It's kind of a bit of a living on less, pulling back, and with more time, introducing a new type of wholesome frugality. So we're not talking about poverty consciousness here. We're not talking about self-restriction to the level of pain. Though I feel that in this chapter, it is maybe the best time in a 12-year period to renegotiate a loan, to renegotiate a debt, to renegotiate your price of living, cost of living with yourself. Like, do I really need to be spending like $400 a month on coffee? Do I really need to be spending this amount on groceries or this amount on my house, or what other ways can I get ahead in life? Year of the Ox can be so beautiful for getting ahead and feeling safe, okay? Because the one positive for certain ox or cows or bovine creatures is that they get to live on beautiful farms. And yes, some of them also live in horrendously corporate abusive situations too. So we have to think of that. That's what we're kind of trying to see here. It's like, are we going to choose like, if you think of like corporate farming and how abusive and horrendous a lot of those situations are, not all of them, it's like that, or it's like the beautiful field where maybe the organic farmer prioritizes like the well-being of the cattle, okay? We're trying to create a safe, healthy lifeline for ourselves with predictability and stability in 2021. And this second chapter is what shows us how to do that well. And for a lot of us, it deals with cutting back expenses. It deals with living on less and having more as you do that, and probably getting raises or promotions or bonuses or more business success as you pull back, and having this huge window of surplus. The second chapter is a way to get surplus through healthy frugality. Also, I said penance as well. So it does feel that some people maybe have a bit of a karmic payback in the second chapter where we get what we've put out, okay? So with that in mind, building up to the second chapter, April through September of 2021, keep in mind what you're putting out energetically, and this first chapter, February and March, can, through pivoting, adjusting, and rationing your output, you can create the most incredible chapter 2, April through September of 2021. And I'm feeling right around 6 and 7, June and July of this chapter 2, this middle section, there's a potential to have like a soulmate connection there. There's a potential to fall in love as you really indulge less. And I mean, you can still indulge on less. Like indulging is not really the bad thing, but it feels like we have to pull back in order to receive more in a way. And through really getting healthier and having a surplus in maybe just in money in our lives, that creates the most wholesome opportunity to look like a very successful solar plexus oriented person with a surplus, which is very attractive. You start to get healthier, you start to glow more, you have more, you exude a type of essence of benevolence and windfall and abundance. And that is the most attractive thing to most people in the world. So, yeah, soulmate opportunities, especially in June and July. There's also one in January of 2021. I've mentioned this in T-chats on Patreon. Very small amount of people can have like a new love relationship in January. But there's another opportunity for a lot of people in July. Of course, this depends on individuals, and we can't really, predict that for everybody, of course. Okay, so the third chapter of 2021 of Year of the Ox, this is like the climax. We have October, November, December, and January. Okay, so October of 2021 through January of 2022. So this deals with like huge stories. A lot of people like enter into this like really crazy status symbol or a really crazy status orientation in the third chapter of 2021. It's incredibly strong. If you think of, again, ox, cattle, they're very heavy and very strong, okay? And they are actually very dangerous sometimes too. Like they can stampede, they can very easily stampede and use their weight and the heaviness of their being to destroy. Okay, so we have to understand that, yes, this is not just a pacified creature. This is also a creature that can absolutely murder, destroy, and kill for its like young, or if it feels threatened, okay? It is one of the, we don't think of the Taurus, the bull, this way. We think of it as, yes, just a super passive, super amiable, super love-oriented, peaceful creature. And a lot of them are, a lot of bulls, a lot of ox, you can just like kind of go up to, and some of them will let you pet them, and oftentimes they really don't care about much, though they will get a frenzy or a streak sometimes, or a temper. If we think of like the Spanish like run of the bulls and things like that, and these are also very, very horned creatures, and much more and if we think of Capricorn, the goat. So this is interesting. So Saturn rules Capricorn. And we think of Saturn and Capricorn as a much more like a viable, formidable, even like dangerous person if they want to be energetically. But a cow or an ox or a bull can do much more damage to a person than a goat can. So it's just this food for thought about this energy. And the third chapter is going to show that frenzy for some people if they want that bowling over, that rush, that stampede. So you want, in that case, to be very clearly aware of what you're partaking in, and also watch out for your temper. All of the year of 2021 of Ox, watch out for that frenzy, that temper, that moment of loss of self-control, that temper, watch out for it. But especially in this third chapter. So with that in mind, though, it's like your purpose can become so strong. Like finally you might be getting to a point in your career or to a point in your field of study or whatever where you finally can see the end in sight, or this might look like graduation for some people. This might look like promotion or successful businesses for other people. And third chapter also looks like the start of the end for a lot of people too. So finally being done, and with yes, a new light energy oncoming. I'm also feeling like a destiny shift for some people. This also was imbued in the entire year of 2020. It was an initiation, but the initiation that some people received in 2020 becomes actually shifting in 2021 and starts to become more physical. So with that, there is a yes or a no that comes up in this third chapter of October, November, December, and January. Will you take this on? Yes or no? And it's not meant to be a hard choice. It should be very simple. Also, global networks come up too. So more of a type of collective intertwine comes up in this third chapter as well. So I'm thinking maybe new social media, new social connections, maybe new regulations on that type of thing too. As actually social media does remind me of Taurus energy in a way, because for a lot of people it's about connection, it's about warmth, it's about sharing space, community, and kindness, though sometimes it gets into that sort of stampede mode as well, where there's like a temper or there's a desire to like destroy. All right. So it is kind of evocative. Of course, it's Aquarius energy too, which in the Western sense we're having so much of as well. So I would say that this combination will maybe see new regulatory measures for social media, and then obviously a totally new culture that emerges, perhaps because of that, but I don't feel that that takes place until this third chapter timing. So it's just, again, food for thought. Love can go really good. It's kind of a ritualistic time too. It's ceremonial, it's loving, it's comfortable. I feel like good food, nice company, nice new friendships that are also possible. But you have to understand, it's like when you're dealing with the bulls, they can be so kind, so peaceful, and so kind of lethargic. But also there's always that opportunity to be like stampeded, okay? So you have to understand the caution that this year requires in a way too. And maybe the statuesque kind of, what do I want to say? Yeah, this is a really good point if I can just summon the words. Sort of statuesque impartiality, 90% of the time is probably the best. And also not engaging things that you don't have to, okay, is also good. Although there are also times I feel that impartiality might be a problem as well. So again, discernment. But most of the time, 90% of the time, I think that it's going to really just get us through this time while also reaping the benefits of it. Anyway, yes, tarot. This is going to end up being an hour-long video, guys. Oh my gosh, all the videos on my channel recently are so long. I can't believe it. I don't know how I do it, actually. I don't know how any of us do it. I don't know how any of us get through all of this. But thank you so much. Be sure to hit that like button below and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Okay, everyone, so we're just going to take this video to like a certain level, and we're just going to have fun with it. Actually, we're going to do a pick a card. I haven't done a pick a card video, and I don't really have time for pick a card videos, but I think it's fun for this video. And why not just get into this sort of ceremonial, fun, ox energy, okay? So I am going to shuffle right now, and somehow I will manage to get this onto the screen as well as we're doing this. If you've ever wanted to support a YouTube channel on Patreon, this channel is on Patreon as well. Also, there are other membership options. If you don't like Patreon, I have the join button on YouTube. These videos sometimes take like 10 hours to edit sometimes, and you know, there are all kinds of glitches and all kinds of like crazy things. Gosh only knows how long I spend in Premiere, and also uploading videos. I mean, it's a lot. So also for creators on YouTube, there are no guarantees with monetization or anything like that. So if you would like to get some extra bonus content, check out Patreon or the YouTube memberships below. So let's see, let's shuffle. Let's cut the cards. Okay, so I'm just going to focus here for a second. Okay, so Year of the Ox. Okay, let's get really serious. Year of the Ox, I really want to understand 3 different archetypes from the tarot deck about different ways to work with the energy well. 3 different archetypes, 3 different images that will help us to understand how to navigate this year with poise, refinement, and benevolence. Okay, this is it. Okay, I'm putting out 3 cards. I'm putting them face down. And let's kick off this pick a card. Okay, card number 1, going from left to right. We have the 5 of Wands. Okay, we love 5 of Wands, don't we? Okay, so what this means is that actually in year of 2021, avoiding conflict is not really the key for anybody who's chosen this card. Actually, you can And since this is in the number 1 position, this again is an early indicator of the energy, meaning that coming from last year, taking the sense of conflict or taking the sense of trial and error or chain of events that you went through, you will learn so much from that now. So this looks like getting the moral of the story to me. And this also looks like anything that's a problem in your life is not going to feel easy, okay? And that's a blessing. And I know at first we see an image like 5 of Wands and we're like, oh my gosh, does this mean that I'm gonna like have conflicts with people? Does this mean that there's gonna be like a struggle in the restfulness of my mind? It could mean that. And that really actually makes sense with what we were talking about in the beginning of the video, where we were talking about how like the mind is so frenetic from Year of the Rat and it was moving so fast. So people who've chosen card number 1, this is really such a great opportunity this year to rest that mind and to maybe channel this in another way. 5 of Wands also deals with sports. It deals with competitive endeavors. It deals with like martial arts, even anything regarding championships or competitive ideas, dancing, anything like that. So it might be really good to offset this year by starting like karate classes or by doing 5Ks or running more or having a group exercise, yoga, anything that helps you to channel this physical zest. Because what 5 of Wands always means is pent up energy. Okay, Wands is fire. It's human life force drive. So with that in mind, 5 of Wands, the 5 number is conflict and mismatching things. So your energy is your life force energy coming into 2021 might feel conflicted or mismatched. And 2021 is going to demand that you get that out and that you purge that out. So this could look like a detox. This could look like a new diet plan. This could look like sweating out sauna, like go to the sauna, maybe spa day, hot springs, things like that, so that you can really get past all of this. So kinesiology as well, stones or crystals that help to rebalance and create a more even stream of energy. You know, pay attention. Are there also certain times of the day where your energy is going wild when it's not right? You know, like when you're trying to sleep, you can't sleep because you're having a flight of ideas. You know, when you're trying to wake up, you can't wake up because all you want to do is sleep. I would really try to reset some of your energy output and make this easier. Also, it can be like camaraderie. And sometimes I think 5 of Wands is all a game too. Like sometimes people really play games with themselves when it comes to conflict and when it comes to trials. You know, also like warring mentalities, like competition with other people. Oftentimes this is a game, okay? So it's good to let yourself in on that if that's the case. And either have fun in it or stop playing the game, all right? Let's move on to card number 2. So if you chose card number 2, you got the Tower, okay? I kept seeing it as I was shuffling too. I know these cards that we're getting so far are pretty crazy. So it's okay. The Tower in the tarot is not always a bad thing. I mean, I'm so happy that these cards are coming up actually, because I think, you know, it's really not, this year isn't playing games with us, you know, it's not going to sugarcoat problem areas and just like give and give and give, where we're like unaware and, you know, unintelligently just reaping as we find ourselves in mazes that we never had to be in. That's not what this year is about. It's going to destroy anything that's not right for us, okay? It's going to give us a feeling of discomfort if we're not in the right place, okay? If we're taking on something just for the ego assertion of it, or if we're trying to build ourselves through unideal, inauthentic methods, that's going to be clear. So the Tower, as I've worked with this card for so many years now, having done, you know, all of this for so long, I get different spins on it all the time. You know, I've seen people who are really going through Tower experiences where, you know, on the outside it all looks really good and it all looks really fine, but there is something really worrisome that they feel to be going through as well. So tower is a redistribution of power, okay? That's what it means. So a lot of us are, again, taking energy out of old things and putting it into new things. And that creates a dissolution or a dissolving of previous structures in our lives. So do understand that, like, as you change direction or as you pivot, there is something that is no longer being experienced. And we don't need to freak ourselves out about that. How nice it is sometimes that life is not just totally predictable. How nice it is that we don't know in 30 years exactly where we're going to be. You know, I think that we get so connected to control that we're like, gosh, I want to really mechanize my reality, or I want to really mechanize where I'm going to be, and, you know, step by step by step, little by little, as we were talking about, you know, forage and create my reality to the degree that no surprises ever happen. That's not really life, is it? So if we're getting too control oriented, that's when we're invoking the energy of the tower as a learning lesson. So try to understand, I would say, if you've chosen card number 2, try to trust in the fluidity of life. Try to trust in the unpredictability and the way in which the universe always tends to our needs and always tends to our wants, but not always in the most anticipated ways. You know, perhaps through losing that job and, you know, going to that bar or something, you meet your soulmate, and you would have never been there if you hadn't lost the job. And, you know, or perhaps through stopping drinking, or through, I don't know, going into an AA program. If you're struggling with an alcohol addiction, for example, that could be like a very strong dissolving of your previous ego. And it could feel almost as if you are threatening your own spiritual livelihood by speaking your truth to strangers. Though as you do that, you understand the world in a new macrocosmic way. And it is like a download of the energy to no longer find yourself in very individualistic, never-ending themes of servitude. Okay, let me break that down a little bit further. For example, as you go into AA, you get a new understanding of the world and about the human condition, and it has a translation effect where through that understanding, you also overcome and evolve out of, like, working 9 to 5, for example, through understanding a new type of perception of the world. So going to AA might just be that thing that, like, I don't know, puts you into a more entrepreneurial mindset. It's like the thing, this is the thing about the tower, is it's destructive, and it destroys, and it dissolves, and it destructures things. But rightfully so, okay? Rightfully so. Let's move on. Okay, so if you chose card number 3, you got King of Cups. Okay, thank God there's one that's not, like, crazy and hard. Okay, so card number 3, King of Cups. Emotional healing, emotional maturation, no longer being afraid of certain things. This year for you, and the energy that you can really build off of, is by understanding the humanity of the world around you, and by no longer indulging in these same fears that you've been afraid of. And as you start to not indulge in those fears, and as you start to not really be paranoid about anything anymore, you exhale, okay? And you evolve. And with less and less energy going into fear and terror in your life, fear, what happens is you gain in other worldly ways. So kind of like what we were talking about in card number 2 with the tower, what can happen is, as you commit to a type of healing, or as you commit yourself to overcoming an addiction, or overcoming poverty consciousness, or whatever it is, as you commit yourself there, those things fade away and are replaced by something new. So there's never lifelessness as long as we're alive, you know? We get really afraid that if we don't have that job, or if we don't have that relationship, or if we don't have that, you know, addiction, or if we don't have that YouTube video, you know, to listen to, we get worried that, oh my gosh, then what? Then what would I do? Something, okay? You have to really trust that what has come into your existence, what you've manifested, again, whether that be an addiction, a YouTube video, a relationship, or anything, this is a result, a culminating effect of certain energy outputs of the past. So I think that people who have chosen card number 3, and anybody really, as these 3 cards I would say are very indicative of the year ahead, and the combination of their energies is the more holistic view of the year. What it says to me is that a lot of us have broken emotional foundations to channel out and to rise above, okay? And especially card number 3, but everybody, that's an everybody message. Another thing about King of Cups is it says to me that you're not letting go of emotional stimulation. So it's still in the water. It's still, the waves are still going, but it's very stable and it's very secure. And it's the expression of King of Cups is very undaunted. Okay. He's kind of like dauntless, and he's kind of unafraid of all of that. So he's not really left behind the waters. He's not left behind the waves, but he is not afraid of them either. So it's a very neat foray for some people, the year of 2021, the year of the ox, into not leaving behind the troublesome aspects of themselves or the difficulties of their past, but rather platforming off of them. So to me, this is that person who struggled with addiction now becoming the AA counselor, or the person who always felt so disempowered, finally starting that business and suddenly getting a lot of freedom over their time, and in essence becoming very powerful. So this is like, if you chose card number 3, this is disempowerment to empowerment basically this year. And that's not just going to come magically, okay? That's the thing about King of Cups, and also the cumulative cards that we have here as well. That's the thing, is it's like, this isn't like King of Wands, where we're just naturally bestowed a type of relevance through like past life karma or something. This is like, okay, yeah, we were in the waves, we were in the depths, and now we have a platform or a throne on top of that. But the way that we've foraged that is through building on the difficulty. All right. So another, to offset this also, or to give a contrary perspective, is are you ever going to let yourself build something off of ease? You know, King of Cups, that's like King of Cups' next mission, is building something off of ease, building something off of simplicity. He's finally in that position where he's not daunted, where he's not afraid, where he's not looking down or has a troublesome facial expression. He's finally in a place where he can do something formidable, and where he can do something with like strength and resolve, because he's platformed above. So really, really beautiful. Those are our 3 pick a card sections. And let's see, what else do I want to say? We are at an hour, right at an hour. So I think that's going to be a perfect place to conclude for the day, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed this very comprehensive video about Year of the Ox in 2021, happening from February 12th of 2021 to January 30th of 2022. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hit that subscribe button if you're new and turn on the bell notifications. Share this video with someone who you think might be interested in understanding about the Year of the Ox. And like and comment on it if you get the chance as well. There are some other links in the description box. I'm on Patreon. There's bonus content over there. And thank you all so much for taking the time to listen to this video. I really appreciate it. And happy Year of the Ox. Much love. Bye.